I've been reading this book called The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren, and it's an amazing book. If you haven't checked it out, I really recommend it. It's pretty much like a devotional. Well, it's a devotional book, and it's based on 40 days. And today I'm on my sixth day of reading it, and it has been a big blessing to me because what's today the topic for today is actually life is a temporary assignment. And the Bible verse of the day would be, so we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. 2 Corinthians 4:18. And what is this talking about is that the things that we can't see, which is heaven and all that, that's what truly matters, not the things that we can see, which is this world and what's passing by. And the point of this devotional was for us to realize that our time on earth is temporary, that we're just foreigners, we're just passing by. This isn't our permanent home. And I think a lot of times we forget it. Life happens, bills come, families come, relationships come, and things that they come as distractions sometimes, and they are blessings as well. I'm not saying not to get married, not to start relationships, but not to get involved in things that God didn't plan you to get involved with. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we choose certain relationships, or we choose certain dreams or goals, or dream like jobs, I'm sorry. And a lot of times we wonder why it doesn't work out, or why we're not satisfied. And a lot of times that void that we feel, that feeling that we get that something's missing, that's because we haven't really fully understood what God called us to do. And I really love this because it really challenges you to think, like to really ask yourself, because it actually has like the question of the day after you're done with the devotional. And the question of the day is, how should the fact that life on earth is just a temporary assignment change the way I'm living right now? And it's such an amazing question because it really forces you to really look within yourself and really ask yourself and be honest with yourself that, am I really living the life that God created me to do? Like, if I really, like, if God were to tell me, you got 2 days to live, or I'm gonna come for you tonight, like, would I feel like I'm ready to go, like that I did what I was called to do? And to be very honest, like, I know I wouldn't be ready. I know I haven't actualized what he called me to do. And a lot of times it's for many reasons that happens, like I said, life or myself. You know what I mean? I don't take the time that I should take to really fast and pray about that. And it's something that God is working with me, and I hope to soon to get an answer. But what I wanted to share was that we have to realize that this isn't our permanent home, that we need to stop putting so much importance on the world. And sometimes with social media, especially social media, we get so influenced by what others are doing. You see someone, let's say they have a family, or they got a certain job, and you start thinking like, oh, why haven't I had a family? Or why am I not going to school? Or why am I not, you know what I mean? And a lot of times we forget the importance of life. And it's amazing that people do that, but we shouldn't let it affect us to the point that we feel like we have no purpose. You know what I mean? God called us all to do many different things. He called some to be scholars, he called some to be professional. Like, everyone has a different calling, so we should never base our worth or what we think of ourselves on what others are doing. And something that I love, because I mean, David would pray this a lot, is he would pray, Lord, help me to realize how brief my time on earth will be. Help me to know that I am here for but a moment more. And it's really an amazing prayer that we should all be praying. You know what I mean? A lot of times we feel like we're going to live forever. We don't think about death, we really don't, until, let's say, we have a loss in the family. Then those are the moments when you're sitting there and we start contemplating our own lives. We start thinking like, what have I done? It's in those moments that a lot of us, maybe not all of us, but we really start to think like, what have I done with life? It really hits you to the point that you're like, wow, like death can really happen. And from personal experience, what we're going through with my brother has really hit hard, because it was so, I guess it happened so spontaneously. I would have never imagined my brother would have passed at the age that he did. I never would have thought that. And with that happening, it made me think like, it gave me a fear, to be honest, a fear of the future, a fear of the what if, and God has taught me a lot through that, because I got to the point where like I wanted to plan everything. I'm like that. I think, okay, if I have control, maybe it won't be as bad. Maybe when things come, I won't be as surprised. And we can't live that way. Sometimes we have to learn to let go and to just trust God and everything that happens. But like I was saying, back to the point is that death can happen unexpectedly. And it's not that you should live with the fear of dying, but you should live knowing that if this was your last day, that you did everything that you were called to, or you'd feel satisfied that if when you died and came up like before God, and He asked you, "What did you do with the gifts that I gave you?" That you're able to say, "You know what, God? Yeah, I used it. I used it for this and that," or not be like. I think at this point in my life, I would be like, "God, you know what? Like I didn't use it. I wasted it." I have to be honest. I have to be honest with myself, and I'm not afraid to be honest with you all. Is that I don't think I'd be able to answer that question. The truth would be that I didn't use my time wisely, and I haven't. And so I urge you all to not get distracted. If you know something's gonna be a distraction, you have to learn to let go, and that's something that I'm learning. I'm so stubborn. I love to hold on to things. Like I said, from my fear of the future, I think, okay, if I hold on to this, like maybe the unexpected won't happen, and it's something that God's working with me, and He's showing me that I have to trust Him. I have to learn to let go, and I shouldn't live in the fear of my future because God knows the plans He has for us. He predestined us. He knew our name before anyone even knew us. Not before our parents even thought of having us. He already ordained a purpose for our life. I mean, you came to this life with a purpose. You weren't just made just because your parents decided to have you, or an accident, or whatever the reason why you came into this world. It's not by chance. And you shouldn't live your life thinking because you don't look a certain way, because you don't think a certain way, because you don't do certain things that others do, doesn't mean that you don't have a purpose or a plan. That doesn't mean that you're less special. That doesn't mean that you're less of a person. A lot of times, like I said, we base our importance or our worth on what others are doing, and we shouldn't live our lives like that. We should live our lives asking God to show us what He called us to do, and to stop living in confusion, because God is not a God of confusion. If you ask, it shall be given to you. It's just us taking the time to actually ask God, what did you call me to do? Like, and it's surrendering to His will, and it's the hardest thing that I go through. I'm gonna be honest, like, surrender for me doesn't come easily. It doesn't, and it probably derives from a lot of things I've been through, but the main point is that it's so hard for me to just let go, and repeatedly God has told me you have to let go, and I thank God for really intervening in my life and not letting me make a mess of things, because I'm just the type that if things go wrong or I'm panic, I just make decisions without thinking, and I hold on to things, and we shouldn't live like that. And I want to encourage you all to really take the time to re-examine your life. Don't give in to your worldly desires. A lot of times God calls that spiritual adultery. You know what I mean? James 4:4 really talks about that. He says we're cheating on God if we choose the desires of this world. If we choose to give in to the things we really want, that we know aren't really God called us to do, we're cheating on God. And we really have to understand that we're in a relationship with God, and you have to think about it your way. If you're in a relationship with someone, you don't want them getting distracted by other people or other things and not paying attention to you, or putting you on the sideline, especially when you're that person that gives your all, and you really, really are that person that loves with all you have, and it feels really ugly, when you don't get the attention that you give. And I feel like that's how God feels sometimes. He's kind of like, why can't you give me the attention that I give you? Why can't you love me like I love you? I give you everything. I love you. Yet it's never enough for us. We always want more, and we start getting distracted, or we think we can do it without His love. Like, we can find the love we need in someone else. And the truth is, yeah, you can find someone to love. Yeah, you can get the job you love, but in the end of the day, we're always gonna have this void. We're always gonna have this feeling like there's something missing. And it's just something short I want to share with you all. Sorry, I'm getting like tongue tied and all, but I just hope this is a blessing for someone, someone that needs affirmation, or someone that needs to hear this. Don't be afraid to do what God called you to do. If there's people that are doubting, if there's people that are telling you how that's impossible, if God put something in your heart to do it, because you don't know when life's gonna end. You don't know, we don't know when our time's gonna come, when God's gonna come for us. And we have to live with our eyes on heaven, I like to say, with our eyes on the prize, which is heaven. We can't get distracted, and it happens so much in this world. distractions are everywhere, like I said, especially with social media. Sometimes I find myself just gonna check my Facebook, and next thing you know, I'm on there for like 2 3 hours. It's sad. I know I do waste a lot of time, but God willing, with this book, I'm hoping that it will help me to really start setting time apart for God. You know, I keep thinking it's just another devotional book, but it's an amazing book, and it's really helped me. Like I said, it's called The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. And honestly, I found this one for like $2 at, I believe it was Savers. They have them at Goodwill everywhere. You don't even have to go buy expensive one. And I recommend you all to try to get it and to read it. It's especially if you're in that stage in your life where you feel like something's missing, like you feel like you're called to do something. It really helps to help you realize what's helping me a lot. Well, God bless you all, and I hope you all have a great Wednesday afternoon. God bless you.